वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we are seeing the greatness of Dakshinamurti. There we saw what his real nature is. Verbatim, the shloka gives the meaning that he is young and the disciples are old, which is impossible because the cause cannot be younger than the effect. So, because of that reason, the idea there is not as it is. Okay. And Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam. In all the English translations which they do, you will see that the Guru taught in silence. The Guru taught in silence. They are completely oxymoron. If you are going to say silence and teaching, they are oxymoron. Silence and teaching cannot go hand in hand. So, either he was silent or he was teaching. What is that? So, that should be clear. So, we understood. And another thing, if you are going to see through the Sanskrit sense, Maunam, Vyakhyanam, they are both in second case. Second case means object. Object means in Sanskrit karma. And karma means the definition for karma, the meaning for karma. Karma means we normally define it as, explain it as action. But in Sanskrit grammar, the word karma does not mean action. Sanskrit grammar says karma, the object means kartu ipsitatamam, the one which is most desired by the doer, subject. The one that is most desired by the subject is what is object. So here, Maunam Vyakhyanam, they are complementary to each other because they are in same case. When you have same case ending, they are adjective, adjectified. Adjective and adjectified are always in same case in Sanskrit. So, Maunam Vyakhyanam. He was commenting and as well as silence. That is not possible. So, what does that Mauna mean? We understood yesterday the Mauna as a Shanti. The Mauna as a self. Because Manana, Muner Bhavaha Maunam. Muner Bhavaha Maunam. The state of being a Muni is Mauna. And who is a Muni? Muni is defined as a Mananat Munihi because he has the habit of doing Manana. Manana means reflection. And reflection presupposes Shravana, listening. And that is what he is doing by saying Vyakhyana. So, he is doing Vyakhyana through which he is making you to do the Manana. Because what is Shravana? The primary Shravana is, we saw there is, the Shravana means the word pronounced by the Guru heard through your ears. The sound associated with the ears, the sound produced by the Guru associated with the ears. That is what is Manana. When the Shravana, when the Guru teaches something, you should have to hear. That is physically hearing is what is Shravana, not reading from books, not associating ideas to his silence. Because we have a proverb, Maunam Sarvartha Sadhakam or Maunam Sarvartha Sadhanam, whichever way, Sadhakam Sadhanam. Meaning silence can be interpreted in any which way. Silence is an instrument for everything. This is exactly the problem with Buddhism. Because when Buddha was asked about the existence of God, Buddha was having a flower in his hand and he was just caressing the flower. And the fellow was asking, Is there God? He was like. And there is one group which says, did I say? See, Buddha smiled. He smiled at the stupidity of this questioner. There is no God, of course. And the other group says, see, I told you, Buddha smiled. When I asked about God, he smiled. He accepts God. Now, did Buddha accept God or Buddha didn't accept God? Buddha even does not know. Like many of these philosophies, many of these religions which are based on people, when those people who propagated those religions and those philosophies, when they come back now, they'll be like, what? You are not the follower of this philosophy. I am the proponent of that philosophy. You don't know anything. You don't say that. This is how you should act. No, that is not how you have to understand. That is not how you should understand. We'll be surprised. He'll be surprised actually. What is this? This is not what I taught. So, don't surprise me. Understand as I teach you. Okay. So, Maunam Vyakhyanam. Commentary and Mauna. Commentary and Mauna cannot be complementary if we understand Mauna as silence. So, that Maunam Sarvartha Sadhakam. Here, Mauna does not mean in this place. That there, silence. Mauna is silence. Here, it does not mean silence. Mauna is a comment. He is commenting upon Mauna means he is commenting upon the state of. Because how you interpret is all. Yesterday I said that the disciple is young, the disciples are old, and the guru is young. They interpret verbatim and they paint a picture. So similarly, he taught with Mauna. Like in the first class, I said about the Chinmudra. When they came, when they asked what is the truth, he just said this. That's all, over. In gesture, he taught. Because those people were capable of understanding the gesture. So they just understood without even a word said. People interpret it in that way. Then that Vyakhyana word will be useless. Gurostu Maunam Vyakyanam. That Vyakhyana word will become useless, redundant. So we have to understand Vyakhyana here is a explanation of the state of being a Muni. State of being a Muni means the state of doing reflection. And that reflection means how he takes them to that state is through the Shravana. So Vyakhyana is he made them listen to the teachings. He taught them the Vedanta. How do you know that? He says the Chinna Samshayaha, their doubts were completely destroyed, annihilated, removed. Without saying anything, you cannot even after saying everything, still there are doubts. If you don't say anything, then how can the doubts be removed? That is impossible. So, next. Nidhaye sarva vidyanam bhishaje bhavaroginam gurave sarva lokanam dakshinamurtaye namaha. Beautiful shloka. This shloka, many people chant this. Nidhaye sarva vidyanam. I am giving you a verbatim translation first. Nidhaye. Nidhi means repository, treasure. Sarva vidyanam. For all the knowledges. He is a repository, he is a treasure of all the knowledges. Bhishaje, Bhishaj means doctor. Bhishaje, doctor. Bhavaroginam, for the rogi means disease. Bhava means samsara. For the disease of samsara. A doctor to the disease of samsara. Okay. Gurave sarva lokanam. He is the guru for all the worlds. Okay. Dakshinamurtaye namaha. To that Dakshinamurti, my salutations. Simple. That is the verbatim meaning of this shloka. Okay. Now we'll understand the real meaning of the shloka. The real meaning. Dakshinamurtaye namaha. Dakshinamurti. Who is Dakshinamurti? We saw earlier. Dakshina means knowledge. Murti means form. Dakshina means south. Murti means form. Dakshina means right. Murti means form. Dakshina also means right. Dakshina, Vama. Dakshina hasta, Vama hasta, like that we say. Anyway, so it can mean all that. So now here we have to understand one more thing. I should have said it in the first class, but I kept it like that in the first class. Here, Dakshinamurti means, Dakshina means knowledge, and Murti, no, we are not talking about forms. Dakshina Amurti. If you break it as a plus a, or the Sanskrit grammar has a beautiful conjunction of words. When you add two characters, whether a, anything, they all end up in long. Dakshina plus Amurti also is Dakshinamurti. Dakshina plus Murti is also Dakshinamurti. Now we call that Sandhi, conjugation of words. Now, Dakshina Amurti, knowledge formless. Now he is, where can you find a form for knowledge? There can be no form for knowledge. So this is his formless knowledge, because whatever form you create for knowledge, because this is a very beautiful, important thing, important theme in this teaching. Formless knowledge, we have to understand that. See, I see this pen. I see this pen. When I see this pen, there are two things. One is this pen and my thought function. The thought function is objectifying the pen. The thought function turns in the form of pen. How do I see the pen? That is what is a very interesting thing in Vedanta. My mind transforms into a thought function, travels through the sense organ to the object, and removes the ignorance veil covering the object and takes the form of that object. My mind transforms to the form of object. When the mind transforms in the form of object, you understand like what? Like a simple example we give. We have this lands everywhere. So there in the land, you plow it, you create a proper field, square or circle or whatever kind of field. So when you have the water from the river, you redirect it through a channel, you send it to this field. So what will be the form of the field? Water is formless. So what will be the form of the field? What will be the form of this water which has, this is channelized? It will take the form of the field. If the form is in the form of, if the field is in the form of a square, it will take the form of a square. If it is in a circle, it will be circle. If it's rectangle, whatever be the form. So similarly, the mind transforms into a thought function, travels through the sense organ. This is formless. So when it hits the object, it transforms itself into the form of the object. When it transforms itself in the form of object, then you say, I know pen. I know pen. Without the mind transforming itself in the form of that object, you will never be able to say that I know this. If it doesn't transform, you at distance, you see something, or when you are not able to see because of the error in eyesight, etc., then I see something, I don't know what it is. That is exactly how you react. You will not say, this is what it is. So, This mind transforming into the form of object is what I say as perception. Mind transforming itself into the object form is what we call as perception. Now, if I say something which we don't understand, the mind does not take any form. When I say idli, I say dosa, probably you people understand. Some of you at least understand. When I say something which you don't, there is a food item called puttu. When I say put, okay, put it here. That is not what put is, or put is not that thing which they use in golf. This is a food item. So here, when you don't understand, when you don't know what I am talking about, the mind does not transform itself into that object form. Therefore, you don't gain the knowledge. You don't gain the knowledge. This mind transforms into something, but that something is ignorance. Now, when I say self, again the mind transforms into nothing else, because you cannot objectify the self. But whereas when the mind turns inward and let us say it goes to the source, what happens? There are, we call it vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. Vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. Vritti means thought function. Vyapti means pervasion. The pervasion of thought function and the pervasion of object. Phala vyapti means the resultant object, the mind transforming itself into the resultant object. In the case of self, the mind does not transform into the resultant object. So, because the knowledge is formless. That is what we are talking about, Amurti Jnana. Amurti Jnana, Dakshinamurti. That is what is Dakshinamurti. Because the knowledge which is gained, how do we gain the knowledge? Through Vedanta. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing happens. Whether I say blah, 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 or I talk about the thought function transforming into the, that is also blah, blah, blah. Nothing happens really. Okay. So, how do I understand the knowledge? How do I gain the knowledge in Vedanta? We understand the sequence, we understand the teaching, then there is a thought function which is created. Thought function is limited, therefore thought function cannot objectify the unlimited. Thought function is limited, limited cannot objectify the unlimited. Therefore, you cannot gain the Vedantic knowledge through your thought function. Because thought function cannot objectify the unlimited. Thought function can only objectify the limited. Oh, Amma, when I think about universe, yes, you are limiting your universe. You are not you cannot say I am objectifying the unlimited. No. You are, when you objectify, even if it is unlimited, when you objectify, it becomes limited. The moment you objectify something, it becomes limited. Same is the case for this self. If you say, I objectified the self, you have made it limited. Simple. So, how do we gain the knowledge? We say we gain the knowledge through this thought function called Akhandakara Vritti. The Akhandakara Vritti is the Akhandakara Vritti. There are two words. Akhanda Akara Vritti. Three words actually, three parts. Vritti means thought function. Akara means form. Akhanda means unlimited. The thought function of the form of unlimited. Now you are again saying the same thing. Thought function of the form of means you are objectifying it. So you are also objectifying the self, isn't it? No. When this thought function, how does this thought function take place? When we understand the meaning of tat, tvam, asi, etc., this statement called Mahavakya. When we understand the meaning of the implied meaning of the statement called Mahavakya. Mahavakya means, Maha means great or supreme. Vakya means statement. Supreme statement. Why do we call it supreme statement? Because this is the one, this is the statement which gives the identity between the individual self and the absolute self. This is the statement which gives the identity between the individual self and absolute self. Whatever statement that gives identity between the individual self and absolute self is called as Mahavakya. The statements like Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi means I am. Asmi means am. Aham, I. Brahma, I am the self. Aham Brahmasmi means I am the self, as opposed to people interpreting it as I am the God. It is not I am the God. I am the self. I am the self, because you cannot be God. Like these stupid people ask this question, how can you be God? That is because you understand this, the Brahma as God. That is the problem. You misinterpret the word Brahman as God. So, I am Brahma Asmi is not I am the God, but I and the God have the same substratum. That is the meaning. I and the God have the same substratum. When that idea is clear, when you gain the clarity over that, you have the knowledge of the substratum. That is what is the Akhandakara Vritti. And Akhandakara Vritti, when people talk about Akhandakara Vritti, many of these Vedantins say, there should be a flow of Akhandakara Vritti. There is no possibility of any flow of Akhandakara Vritti. It happens once and it is over. That's all. If it happens, you are realist. If it doesn't happen, you are idiot. Simple. There is no choice here. It is happening. It is just close. There is only tail which needs to go in. No. We have this story. There was one teacher who was taking this class. Not Vedanta teacher. So, some school teacher, he was taking the class. And one of the boys, like all the boys, this fellow was not attentive in the class. And after the class, this teacher asked, has everything gone in? Did it go inside you? Did it go inside? Like that he is asking. So this fellow, he said, sir, everything went inside except the tail, sir. Because he is not attentive in the class. He is watching the mouse which is there entering the hole. Everything went inside except the hole, except the tail. So that is not what we mean. So there can be no Akhandakara Vritti, series of Akhandakara Vritti. Akhandakara Vritti takes place once, and when it takes place, there is clarity. That we will see later. But this Akhandakara Vritti is what is called as a Dakshina Jnana. Because in the commentary, in one of the commentary, it is very clearly said, Antakarana Vrittau Jnanatva Upacharat. Antakarana Vrittau Jnanatva Upacharat. In the thought function of the mind, the word Jnana, knowledge, is used in the sense of Upachara, means for figuratively. It's namesake. For namesake it is used. It is not really Jnana, but for namesake the thought function is used as is referred to as a Jnana. Thought function is referred to as Jnana, knowledge. So based on that, this knowledge, and that knowledge of the formless is Dakshinamurti. So we are not talking about the salutation to some form. We are not worshipping some form. We are not here discussing a Ishvara of form, but we are talking about that Ishvara who is everything. That is why later, not here, it is actually a sloka from Manasullasa, a commentary on Dakshinamurti, which they also chant with this. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurte Namaha. When Dakshinamurti shloka is chanted, they also chant this shloka. Ishvaraha Guruhu Atma Iti. Ishvara, the God, Guru, the teacher, preceptor, and Atma, the self, the individual self. In this three forms, Murti Bheda Vibhagane, in these three forms, one who is seen. In these three different forms, one who is seen. As the Ishvara, as the Guru, and as my own self. One who is seen, Murti Vibhagane. One Vyomat Vyapta Dehaya, one who has the embodiment like a ether, like a space, all pervading embodiment. To that Dakshinamurti, my salutations. So there we very clearly say one who is of the form of Ishvara, of the form of Jiva, of the form of the Guru, who is the connecting between me and the Ishvara, who gives the knowledge of identity between Ishvara and me. So this Dakshinamurti we are talking about is that all-pervading one who is in the form of Ishvara, Guru, Atma. What does that mean? It means Atma means I, the seer. Guru means the means, the instrument, the seeing. And Ishvara means the object seen. So one who is in the form of the seer, seeing, and the seen, the perceptor, the perceiver, the perceiving, and the perceived. This trinity of knowledge, knower, and the known. That is what we are talking about in that shloka. One who pervades the knower, knowledge, and the known. Knowledge means here the means. Knowledge, when I say here, knowledge is the means. Knower, the means knowledge, and the object of knowledge, which is the self. One who pervades this trinity, one who is in the form of this trinity, to that knowledge, to that self, to that formless, my salutation. Beautiful that is. So here, that is what we have to understand. Dakshinamurti means he is the formless knowledge. Formless knowledge means the knowledge which is gained through the Akhandakara Vritti, through the thought function of the eternal, the absolute. To the thought function of the absolute. Okay. First, Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam. Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam. He is a repository of, he is a treasure of all the knowledges. That is what we said. But wait, how can he be the object of all the knowledge? The repository of all the knowledge. That's a stupid idea. If you translate it like that, that is a stupid idea. Because if you say he is the treasure or repository of all the knowledge, you presuppose the existence of all the objects. When Vedanta does not accept anything other than substratum, that is what we saw in the first shloka itself. There is substratum and the rest is superimposition. We saw the substratum and the superimposition. The substratum and the superimposition. When you say the rest is superimposition, we brought in the idea of darkness and light. He cannot exist. When we spoke about the second shloka, Vata Vetapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishanam, in that shloka I clearly explained. So the substratum and whatever exists is superimposition. Where can there be? Then there is no duality. Where can there be? All, sarva. The use of pronoun sarva is wrong. What does sarva vidya means? All the knowledge. All the knowledge. What does that mean? In the Vedanta, there is this question always. Because we are confused with the world of duality. Therefore, we go to the Guru and we ask him, Kaspinnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvam idam vijñātam bhavati. That is the question normally you see in the Vedanta. Kaspinnu bhagavo vijñāte. O Lord, knowing which. Vijñāte, knowing which. Sarvam idam vijñātam bhavati. Sarvam idam, all this vijñātam is as well known. Knowing which all these are as well known. That is the question of the disciple to all the gurus in the Vedanta text. That sarva is what he is talking about. And sarvam khalu idam brahma. The Vedanta very clearly says sarvam khalu idam brahma. All these is indeed the self. So sarva vidya means the substratum for all the existence. Sarva means all, vidya means which is the substratum. So he is the repository of all the knowledge, means he is the substratum. Nidhaye sarva vidyana means he is the treasure of the knowledge, substratum knowledge, the self. And he goes on to say Bhishaje bhavarogina. Okay. How can he get rid of bhava roga? Roga means disease, I said that. And bhava means samsara. Yes, that is also right. Bhishaje, he is the doctor for that. How can he be the doctor? When we talk about Shiva, who is the form of Dakshinamurti, we say bhava in Shankaracharya's shloka also, Totakashtaka also, we say bhava eva bhavaniti me nitaram samajayata chetasi kautukita amavaraya moham hajaladim bhava shankara deshikame sharanam. Bhava eva bhavan. You are verily that Shiva, I know this. And thinking about this, I rejoice. Kautikita. There is a joy in my hand. What kind of rejoice? That you have accepted. I have understood, not just I have understood, you have accepted that. Okay, so I am very happy to have heard from you, to have understood from you. Yes, okay. When the Guru says, okay, that is okay. Yes, I know, I am that. Yes, all that. And he says, I am happy, I know this. I have the secret about you, which is, you are the Shiva. So, and in all the places, bhavam bhavani sahitam namami. I salute Bhavam, the Shiva, along with his consort, the Parvati, Bhavani. So in all these places, Bhava is used for Shiva. So Bhava treats Bhava. Bhava treats Bhava. This is beautiful. See, what does that mean? There is this form called Kamadeva, the Lord of Love. In any mythology, you have, even here, you have this small boy who has this arrow and a bow. Okay. In Indian mythology, you have this Kamadeva who uses his bow and arrow, which is made of not iron, not any metal, but made of flowers. He uses this bow and arrow, which is made of flower, and hits the opponent. Okay? And the same way, when you see the Shiva form, or in fact the Shiva, when I say Shiva, not Shiva, Shiva. Shiva means Shiva. And Shiva, when we say, it's feminine. The feminine form of Shiva, Kameshwari, Kamakshi, etc. You can see Rajarajeshwari, whatever. So you can see her holding a bow and arrow, which is also made of a flower. How beautiful this is. So when I was looking at this, why is she holding on to a arrow and bow made of flower? What will it achieve? You should have to have an arrow made of stick at least to hurt someone. Why will I? Okay, I'm throwing flower. What? What kind of game is she playing? This is beautiful. See, since your enemy has it's like that war in Iraq when it happened. From this side there was Scud missile, and from that side there was some missile. They hit each other and they fail. Why? Because they are both of equivalent power. So similarly, when this person, this Kama, this lord of lust, desire, he shoots his arrow of flower, equivalent missile is sent from this side to destroy that. Beautiful. So similarly here, Bhava is samsara and Bhava is a Shiva. So Bhava treating Bhava. Bhava treating Bhava. What is the problem here? Clear? Only that this is like a homeopathy. Homeopathy does not see, other medicines believe in finding the cause and using an antidote to destroy that cause, the problem. But homeopathy does not believe in that. They say the problem is the solution. Whatever be the problem, they take the solution from that very problem. That is what is the idea of homeopathy. Homeo means single, non-dual. We are also single, non-dual. And Pati means Lord. Umapati, Shivapati, etc. Pati means Lord. We are Lord of non-duality. If we don't believe in homeopathy, who will believe? So, here he says, Bhava eva bhavan. The problem, in the problem you have solution. That is why we have this. People ask questions. And there are some mystical people who say, the question is the answer. How can the question be the answer? If the question is answer, many of us would have scored centum. Because we are writing the question for the question, not even answer. So, this is what the idea is. Bhava is a samsara and Bhava is the solution, because the problem is the solution. Problem is not solution. The solution is the problem. Why? Because you don't see. Okay, we'll take it. Open. We don't see this. Where is that? We don't see the rope. Instead of rope, we see the snake. Instead of rope, we should see the rope. Instead of rope, we superimpose a snake. So, the solution is the problem. How can the solution be the problem? The ignorance of the solution is the problem. Anywhere. If you don't understand the solution, then there arises the problem. That is itself the problem. So here, that is why he says, the problem is samsara, and because you don't understand the bhava, the Shiva, the Ishvara, so therefore he says, Bhishaje, you are the doctor. You know how to treat the samsara. Why? Because you are Bhava himself. Bhava Rogina. For the disease of Bhava, you are the doctor. Okay. And Gurave Sarvalokanam. Gurave Sarvalokanam. When you accept the duality, world of duality, then you presuppose there is Sarva, everything, all this. And presupposing that, he is saying you are the Guru. This is not anything new. In the first sloka, he said Acharyendram Karagalita Chinmudramanandarupam. Acharya. In the third line, he said the first word in the third line, Acharyendram. And in the second sloka, he said Tribhuvana Guru Misham. You are the Guru of all the three worlds. So, and in the third sloka, he says Gurostu Mauna Vyakhyanam Guru. Shishya, no, in fact, Guru Yuva with that. Guru Yuva, Guru is the cause, powerful. So, in all those shlokas, whatever idea he said, that is the same idea he is saying here by Gurave Sarva Sarva Lokanam. Is the Lord of, is the Guru of all the creations. To that formless knowledge, my salutation. To that formless knowledge, my salutation. Fifth shloka, beautiful. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaika Murtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Namaha Pranava Arthaya Shuddha Jnana Ekamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Again Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. To that formless I salute. Formless knowledge I salute. Okay. Om Namaha. He begins with Om Namaha. My salutations. Om, my salutations. To whom? Pranava Arthaya. Pranava means Om. Pranava means Om. Arthaya means meaning. To the one who is the meaning of Pranava. To the one who is the meaning of Pranava means meaning of Om. Shuddha Jnanaika Murte, one who is of the form of pure knowledge. One who is of the form of pure knowledge, embodiment of pure knowledge. Nirmalaya, one who is pure, without any defect. Without any defect. Prashantaya, one who is tranquil. To that Dakshinamurti, my salutation. Now here, Om Namah Pranavarthaya. I salute to that meaning of Pranava. Om, my salutations to that meaning of Pranava. What does Pranava mean? Om. How can Shiva, this Dakshinamurti, this knowledge form, be the meaning of Pranava? This is the subject matter of Vedanta. This is the subject matter. This one word is the subject matter of Vedanta. Because of the non-understanding or misunderstanding of this word Om, every confusion arises. That is why the highest text, when we talk about the highest text in Vedanta, we say this Mandukya Upanishad is the highest text in Vedanta. Once you understand that, you don't have to study anything. And similarly, for doing manana, for repetitive reading, they follow this text called Panchikarana. Panchikarana, though, is the processing of the 5 elements, discuss about the processing of the 5 elements, but it in fact teaches about the Om. What does Om mean? So, Akara, Ukara, Makara, A, I, U, Ma, A, I, This 3, when combined together, not A, I, U, A, U, Im, Om. A, U, Im. The thing is, after Sanskrit, A, I, Un, Ril, Rik, A, U, it becomes. So, A, U, Im. A, U becomes O and Im. Om. That is why in different places you can see the Om written in the form of one syllable, Om. In some places you can see people writing in two syllable, O and Im. O and Im. In Tamil and all, you can see only O and Im. Some people combine it and make it one syllable. They write Om, O, and inside the O they will write Im to make it sound like one syllable. So, O plus Im is Om. Om, one character, or A, U, Im, three characters. They are all referring to the same thing. One character, two character, three character. One non-dual self, duality or trinity. Whichever way you see, it is all talking about that self. There is a story in Indian tradition, in mythology. Like we know Shiva, Shiva's son. One is Ganapati, who we invited the other day. We spoke about him. He was the gate man who became transformed into this elephant god. Anyway, the second son is called as Kartikeya, who is famously worshipped in south of India. North of India, very rarely talks about him. In south of India, he is the main god, Kartikeya. Now, there is a story regarding Kartikeya. Kartikeya is born out of the fire from the third eye of Shiva. Fire from the third eye of Shiva. Fire of knowledge. The third eye is a significant a pointer to knowledge. And he is born out of the third eye, means he is born out of the fire of knowledge. So, this form which is born of the fire of knowledge, Kartikeya, and he is born from Shiva, knowledge form which we are seeing now. Therefore, okay, something born out of fire, what can it be? Water? Something born out of fire, something which came out of fire should also be fire. There is no choice there. So, from this fire came into existence another fire of knowledge. Kartikeya is a fire of knowledge. Okay, so since he is the knowledge form, by birth itself, he has the complete knowledge of all the creation, everything. So once he encounters the creator Brahmaji, the one who is sitting in this photo, there is a lotus which is springing from the navel of Vishnuji, and on top of it there is a person sitting. That is Brahmaji, the creator, four-faced Brahma, the creator. Okay. Now, that Brahmaji is the creator. He is the father of who created these four through the mental projection. He is the father of the four disciples of Dakshinamurti. Okay. Now, when this Kartikeya encounters this Brahmaji, he asks, okay, you know everything about the creation? Yes. Tell me about it. Tell me what is the meaning of Pranava, Om. Brahmaji says, yes, I know, I am the creator. Don't do this to me. Trying to test me? How dare you? Like Greta Thunberg. How dare you? She also asked, how dare you? So, this fellow, this Kartikeya, he does not leave him. Okay, you can say, how dare you? I don't care, but tell me the answer. Finally, he has to say, I don't know. He surrenders saying, I don't know. After first saying, who are you to ask me? You know who I am, all that. Finally, when he is cornered, he says, okay, I don't know, I accept. If you don't know and you are creating this whole world, I know you are doing mistakes in this creation. So I arrest you. He arrests him and puts him in jail. Now, the creation stops abruptly. So Shiva, who is the father of this Kartikeya, to him people go and complain. There is a problem here. There is an imbalance in creation. So please do something. So Shiva calls this Kartikeya, his son, come here. Just that. Why did you arrest him? That fellow does not know what he is doing. So he should be given. Oh, do you know? Do you think you know about Pranava? You know about this Om? Of course I know. Tell me. Not like that. Why? Are you asking me? Are you testing me? I'm asking you. Then be my disciple. If you want to listen to this Om, it cannot be taught in simple way. You have to be my disciple. That is why he is called as Gurunatha. Kartikeya is also referred to as Gurunatha, and the one who was the guru of his own father. Normally, we have this proverb. There is no greater mantra than the father's word. There is no greater temple than the mother. This is a proverb in Tamil. Literally, verbatim, this is what it means. Father's word is mantra. Now, he says, you be my disciple and learn. Okay, tell me. Not like that. If you are my disciple, behave properly. Show the attitude. Okay. So, he goes, covers his mouth and stays below him and receives the teaching of Omkara. Not receiving. He is understanding if the fellow, my son, has he understood properly or not. Because he is knowledge form. When you interpret it, oh, he is an idiot. He studied from his own son. No. He sees. Because always it's a joy if your son has understood something, you enjoy it more than the son actually. So he wants to gain that joy. So he sits as his disciple. Okay, like every father does. When the son is a baby, he hits the father with his leg. The father will be, okay, do it again here. Like that. This father also, okay, now tell me, I am your disciple. He plays that game of disciple and he teaches us how a disciple should behave. He goes and asks for this meaning. That meaning which he explained is a Pranava. That is why Kartikeya is also called as Pranava Swarupa. And that is why always with reference to Kartikeya, there is this Om which is associated. In Tamil Nadu, wherever you go, when you write Om, they will think that you are a follower of Kartikeya. You are a devotee of Kartikeya. Om, though, is a common thing for all the gods, it is this in this way became associated only with Kartikeya. Form of Pranava, Om. So, Pranavarthaya, he is the form of Pranava. Meaning of Pranava. Meaning of Pranava means what does A stand for, what does U stand for, what does Makara stand for. This is what the whole thing is. So, the Mandukya Upanishad says the A should be merged in the U, that should be merged in the Makara, and that Makara should be merged in the silence. into U into Makara into silence. So we say there are 3 characters, but there are not 3 characters, there are 3.5 characters. U, M, and the silence. That's half character. Ardhamatra manyante. Like that it is said in the Mandukya Upanishad. So Akara is merged into Ukara, is merged into Makara, is merged into the silence. Is the gross, which is merged into the subtle, which is U, and that U is merged into the causal, which is Makara, which is merged into the self. Gross is merged into the subtle, is merged into the causal, which is merged in the cause, this substratum. U, Ma, and silence. The silence is the self. There is no change in all the different interpretations of Ma. The silence is the self. Okay. Is gross, U is subtle, Ma is causal. So merge this gross into subtle into causal into the self. Is the waking state, U is the dream state, Makara is the deep sleep state, and the silence is the self. Is the waking state is merged in the dream state, is merged in the deep sleep state, is merged in the self. Beautiful. Is the physical form, this physical body, this gross body, and that is merged in the gross body we call as Annamaya Kosha. Okay, the foot sheath, that is merged in the vital air sheath Pranamaya, the mental mind sheath, the Manomaya, and the Vijnanamaya, the intellect sheath. Annamaya, the foot sheath, this physical body. That is this U is a Pranamaya, the vital air sheath, Prana, that which is predominance of prana, which has predominance of prana, and there is also mind in it, Manomaya, mind sheath we call it, and also Vijnanamaya, the intellect sheath. So thus that these 3 comes under the U, and in Makara we have Anandamaya, the ignorant sheath. So the physical form, the Annamaya Kosha, is merged into the Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya, which is merged into the Anandamaya, which is merged in the self. So whichever way you want to see depends upon you. So all these different ways are to gross, subtle, causal, self. Then you have Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, then Anandamaya, self. Or you have waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, self. Whichever way you want to inquire, you can inquire, but the end result is self. They are all same. The inquiry process may differ, but you end up in self. So the complete idea, the meaning of Pranava, Pranava Artha, Pranava is the meaning of Pranava is self. Ultimately, Akara, Ukara, Makara merges in the half character, which is the self. So, Om Namah Pranavarthaya. I salute that implied meaning, the substratum of the Pranava, the self. Shuddha Jnanaika Murtaye, who is of the form of pure knowledge. We will not finish it in this hurry. We'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.